Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. We're doing another main image monthly. The usual crew's back. We've got a couple of more people added on and the brand owner as well. I'll do their introductions in a moment. But firstly, we're going to bring on to the show is the brand owner, Simon. Simon, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Danny?
All good. Do you want to quickly give us a background on what everyone is optimizing today?
So we've got the London bus. It's a wooden ride-on toy for kids aged about 9 months up to 2 years old. It's one of the sort of ride-on range that I've got, the Kidimoto range, but it's a relatively new product, and it's unique to Kidimoto. So it's really difficult to find anything that it competes with directly, which has really made it quite a tricky one to find all the correct keywords. And yeah, it's an interesting product. I like it. It gets great responses off of Amazon. It's won awards, won toy awards. So yeah, and I'm really keen to see what the guys have come up with.
Well, you explained the first part pretty well, was because we've all kind of struggled in a way with the situation with the keywords and search volume and stuff, but everyone will go around and talk about that. And then of course we've got all the designs and variations that we've done and the tests that have been run, the customer objections, etc. Let's bring in Sim. How are you doing, Sim?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good.
Excellent. So let's have a quick chat. Obviously, Simon, with the London bus, it's different to what we've done in before. And of course, you brought Hannah in on this. She's done some designs. What's been your thought process for this?
Yeah, so obviously we mentioned this product quite late on in the last podcast when Simon or Cy-B, I think, is that right? Yeah, I mentioned it in the chat. So yeah, initially I was a bit, I think you guys remember in the WhatsApp, I was a bit like concerned because it looked like a really strict category. But then the more I've looked into it, perhaps it isn't, and that we can push the boundaries here a little bit. And obviously, I'm going to have plenty to say about this award that I didn't know Simon had later on in the podcast, because we need to get that front and center, I think, if there is one.
Yeah, we didn't know about that. So
yeah, exactly. So I think essentially from the outside looking in here, the everyone is doing very boring things. Now, it's quite tricky to actually pin down the keyword here, but I've gone for like ride-on toy truck in toy bus, this kind of thing, in .com.de and obviously in the UK. Images, no one's really, it's all very the same, right? No one's really done what Hannah even will show later. And so I think if we can push the boundaries and be the only ones doing that, then there's a real opportunity there to stand out. So I just wanted to introduce Hannah. So I sort of mentioned briefly that there's a service that I found via LinkedIn. And Hannah has done some work with us already, so some projects that we've paid her for. She's kindly offered to put the services forward for this podcast for free, just to showcase her skills and show her thought patterns. And also, we now bring her inside our business on like our imagery discussion meetings to sort of help out and give her advice on CTR hacks. So she's been a real find for us, and it's my pleasure to sort of introduce her to the wider audience and give her the spotlight that she deserves. So
everyone deserves their flowers. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, if you want to sort of take it away and show and perhaps show what you came up with, and then I think the polling guys did their stuff based on your designs.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sim, for the intro. Yeah. So I met Sim in LinkedIn, and I told him in our call that when I saw the product, I already have an idea because I'm a mom. I love seeing these type of products. So I'm gonna present my screen. All right. So yeah, here you will see the current main image. This is the current main image. You will see that it doesn't have any photo of the kid using the product. We only see the product itself, and it's a little blurry actually when you zoom it in. And I thought that the reflections are also a little off because we don't see the inside of the reflection. So I thought maybe we can do something about that. We also can improve the text here because it's difficult to read the text. It says Kidimoto transport. So you will see here the two options I made. So this one, you will see we have a kid and another kid here on the right side and some other extras. I will explain in detail later. And another option here, it's similar to the previous one, but we used a different model on the right side. So let's go ahead and check the details. So here in the first option, I added a child riding on the bus because the main function of this product obviously is a ride-on toy. So we want to show that to the customer to make it more relatable and easier to understand. And here I included a badge that highlights that the toy is suitable for this certain age. I believe as a mom, it's very important to see this information because as a mom, I want to make sure that the product is actually suitable to my child's age. So I believe this is very, very important. Another is the ribbon. So based on my research, I found out that this is a product that people buy as a gift to their kids or to their nieces or to their nephews. So this is a good way to to make it more, giftable in the eyes of our customers. So I did that by analyzing the customer reviews. I extracted the customer reviews and used AI to analyze what are the most important information that people are looking for in this type of product. And I learned that this product is actually from the from the UK. So I added a badge that says designed in UK, right, to add more credibility. So adding that element like a flag to the main image, gives more credibility to the product. So it's more clickable. And included a smaller image of a girl on the right side using the toy as a walker because I realized that this product is not only a ride-on toy, but this is also a walker. So I'd like to show that in the main image. So the main function is that it's a ride-on toy, and secondary function is the walker. So I think this is a good addition to the main image. So yeah, we also featured a male and a female toddler so that we communicate to the audience that this is a unisex toy. And for the second main image, we have a different option here. We added a boy. This is the same model as the main image here. We just added this boy so that we maintain the consistency in the model shown in the main image. So yeah, that's the main optimization I made here for this product.
Superb. Sim first. Oh, no, actually, should we ask Simon his feedback as it's his product? Simon, what did you think of the feedback and design and stuff there?
I'm really liking the idea of having a child on the product because then it demonstrates the size and that it is a ride-on, and also having like the two kids as well, in the boy and a girl, so it shows unisex, and obviously the design in the UK. So yeah, brilliant, really, really nice.
Excellent. Thumbs up there. Sim, what's your take?
This is like it's a podcast based to essentially increase CTR, right? So we're trying to improve the click-through rate of a product. In a way, there are aspects of this that are going to reduce the click-through rate of the product. So we're now putting the correctly sized toddler on the page, and we're putting 1 to 3 years. So what's going to happen is if they got a 4 or 5-year-old, they're not going to click. But what's going to happen inadvertently, obviously, is that we're going to improve the conversion rate. And I think this is now chalk and cheese. I think there's the upscaling was very good by Hannah as well. So we've got a pretty stark difference, for being honest. And I think, Simon, I think you agree that I think the secondary images on that listing are really good, but the main image definitely was lacking a little, and the reflection was quite harsh. And I think now it's definitely more visually appealing. I think there's white space that we can use, and perhaps instead of going for the ribbon for the gift box the gifting idea, we could actually include the gift box or a packaging or whatever we've got in the background if there is something appealing there, because then that gives you a second, a real here's the gift it's going to be. And we need to get that award on this page. That is kids, mothers want to see that. That is bang, and no one else has done anything like that. And is this plastic free, Simon? That was my other point. It seems to be wooden base. It's made of birch. If this is plastic free, mothers would love that.
Yeah, no, it's birch plywood. It's got water based paints on it. It's got no plastic. It's got a tiny bit of rubber on the wheels, just to prevent it from sliding around. But other than that, there's absolutely no plastic in it at all.
We've got to get that across as well. 100%. I know from when my wife was buying kids for our now 8-year-olds, she was obsessed with trying to limit the plastic in the house. And she's definitely the target market for this. So I can't see how that would hurt. And it also, I mean, people are very wary of Chinese stuff. And you remember all the stuff about dodgy paints in Chinese toy products, all this stuff. If you can get across that this is, with a British flag designed in the UK, obviously it's not produced here, but designed in the UK, and then the plastic free element, I think you're onto a winner.
Excellent. Matt, you're up next.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, we can bring up the slides there, and I can start with that. Okay, so as always, what we like to do is start with the qualitative testing. So basically figure out, get people looking at the listing, speaking out loud, and record their screen as they're actually looking at it. So that's what opinion video does. We basically get to watch people how to shop. So we set up the test, and for this, I did something a little bit different. So before I would jump into the competition, but with this product, like we were all saying, it's kind of unique. So instead of looking at the competitors, because there really wasn't another like ride-on double-decker kind of bus, I wanted to see like why people are not buying and what are the objections for the listing, to kind of get inside someone's mind and understand like what's causing them pause to buy. So with that being said, we can bring up. Let's bring up the video actually, and we can play the video. And this is just some snippets of what some of the shoppers were saying when they were looking at the listing.
You want me to bring that up now? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of walkers that are a little bit wider. They have like a wider base. I think that's a stability thing. So this one, it looks pretty narrow. So there's a possibility like when they're in the early stages of walking, they might lean side to side, and this might tip over a little bit easier. Yeah, with the wheels, how are those? The wheels being so narrow, I think it might be something that tips over while they're walking. So maybe make the base a little bit wider. I know it probably wouldn't be, it wouldn't look exactly like the double-decker bus, but it might make it like a safer thing.
One thing one of the things that concerns me is that the wheels look like they are wooden. And if this is a toy that's meant to be a ride-along toy, I'm actually looking at that closer. There might be some type of rubber along the part of the wheel, but it still looks like it would scrape up our floor, like any type of wooden floor, really well.
I don't like that it doesn't light up, or possibly doesn't light up. So my almost 1-year-old loves it when things light up and make sounds, but that might be a deal breaker. Don't like the toys that are included, the ducks specifically. I don't know if those actually come with it. That should be prioritized to tell us if toys come with it.
I would like to know the age range on the picture itself. That would be helpful to know. And I would also want to know the weight that it can hold up to, because there are some 3-year-olds that weigh quite a bit more than others. So knowing a maximum weight on this type of toy is always good.
I don't like these curves to it, like sharp edges. I wish they had like bumpers, because he runs into things with plastic, his plastic walker, and it almost breaks or bumps or nicks the wood. I don't like the low ratings. The fake spot reviews don't say anything about it, which makes me a little hesitant. I always have that installed. I don't know what the wheels are made of or the weight requirement. It just says how much the whole thing weighs. My 4-year-old, I know 12 months to 3 years, but he just turned 4. So if we'd gotten this a year ago, he probably wouldn't want to ride on it. So I'd want to clearly show what the weight requirement is and the cutoff. I do like that you can store toys inside of it. I would want the wood handle to be like rubber and then be more flush with this, like these two mounds where each of the handle connects. I don't like that the edges are so sharp. I do like the construction materials. I don't like that it doesn't make sounds or have lights. don't know what the wheels are made of. I don't know the weight requirement. But if he falls or he hits something, or the wood itself, oh, I like that flap. That's pretty cool. Hands in it would probably get pinched, but I like it overall. If we hadn't just bought him a walker, I would have bought this if the edges were a little bit more rounded or there was a protective rubber on them.
Cool.
Do you know what's interesting when you listen to that stuff? Getting the custom objections over to people can be quite difficult because of taking things personally. Like when I'm doing custom objections, I go straight to the negatives because I want to know everything, but I go there first. But I think when you get some of the feedback, Matt, because I love video reviews, right? Because I think for me personally, they're the highest yield, 4 minutes, loads of information, negative data's there, but it actually ends up being a gold mine if you can detach your emotional attachment to the product. Would that
If you
be
can
a
get
fair?
rid of that ego, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the tricky part for some people, especially if the product's been struggling and they're struggling for margin, and then they put it through there. It's like their self-esteem's just been, regulation has just been annihilated.
And knowing what you're up against, yeah, absolutely.
And knowing you're up against. So, Simon, how do you feel about the feedback?
Yeah, no. I think having negative feedback does allow you to address like some questions, which then, because you can answer those questions, you know, it says about the weight, you can put that in there, and the age range, and you know, the stability, and you can address that by saying in somewhere either on an image or in the bullet point to say that this meets tip over safety testing and any of those sort of things. So you can, this is gold, this sort of feedback, because then you can address it in the imagery or in the bullets.
Because then you get the context of like how, like, is it really that bad for that point, or is it like, this is kind of a small contention point? So the context makes a difference.
Yeah, and I think as well, if you think that in terms of communication and how it's broken down, the written word is only 7% of communications because you've got meta communications, tone, and everything else. And so video gives a bit more context, and you go, that's what we can work on. Absolutely, I missed that. That's a blind spot and stuff like that. Sim, bringing you in.
Yeah, it's actually really similar to the silicone food bags that we did a while ago, where it became pretty obvious that we should have done this polling before even starting development of the product. And I think if, for example, here, the product could be exactly the same, but based on this feedback, you could make those wheels really obviously rubber, like, you know, and then even that would make a massive difference, because I think they made some very valid points there. The one about the wood on a hardwood floor would, I mean, and you can make the rubber wheels really thick as well, so it lends itself to like sturdiness and stability then. But yeah, that guy at the end, the last video, just nailed it. I mean, multiple good points he made. So yeah.
Forgiven
nice stuff,
his
Matt.
tone and stuff, you know, he's got the world on his shoulders by his tone,
Yeah.
but you need that kind of indifference and feedback, don't you? And I think that really, really helps with Simon to address these objections as well.
Okay, so, you know, we just went over, we talked about some of the objections, and just to highlight them here, what we also wanted to do is basically also ask qualitatively in en masse, like looking at this, you know, what are your objections when you see this listing, like these listing images? And some of the other things that came out, like how hard is the assembly, right? So as a dad, you know, if I have to build something, it takes a lot of time, I want to know. Other ones, you know, what are the weight limits? We heard that in the videos as well, big time. Like how, you know, is my kid going to break it? The sharp edges, we heard that. Is it stable? The wheels are thin, handles are too short. So just highlighting some of the written feedback there. Will it scratch floors? That was actually my main thing as well too. We just redid some floors. I'm like, I don't know if this will damage it. Other objections that came up, is it comfortable? Can there be a seat cushion? So now we're getting into like other things that we could potentially do to differentiate or just make the product better going forward. So yeah, no interactive features like lights and sounds. We saw that, not inclusive. So all of this actually came up quite often, where, you know, all the kids are the same ethnicity, images are not inclusive, right? That sort of thing. Why are there ducks? That was actually a good one too. I didn't even think about that until the guy mentioned it on the video. There's like ducks in there. Are they included? Are they not included? And then some people were thinking like, oh, maybe there should be more like fire, or some people thought it was a fire truck, thinking like, oh, maybe there should be like fireman related accessories, that sort of thing. And some other people, and talk about having your ego, right? Like some people were saying like better design infographics on the product. They look very boring, like early 2000s educational magazine vibe. Ouch, right? Like they hold nothing back when they're going into it. But okay, so let's turn this into action. So now we got some qualitative feedback and we can actually make some things. So we know what the original we're already working with. And Hannah did an amazing job on this. Like she really hit the nail on the head too with that call out with the ages. We saw in the video, the other mom said, hey, I want to know what ages this is for. So Hannah's idea was show it both as a ride and a walker. I also had the idea, there was another image that Simon had that had the kid kind of like, it looked like he was having more fun. Like he has his tongue out. He's kind of like a little bit happier. So I was like, hey, you know what? Let's test this concept as well too. Same kind of setup as Hannah's, but let's go, test which layout works. And then of course, the other thing I wanted to test was the call out. So we assumed that, the ages 1 to 3 would be the best, but there's a lot of features that we could put on there. So I figured, let's test that out as well. So similar idea, we launched what we call Opinion Ask, and then basically got people to rate the top 3 most important features for the product. So here we're trying to figure out, what's the most important information to actually put on that call out and kind of test the hypothesis of like, is the age range the best thing to put on it? So we went ahead and did it. And I did find that gold product award too, which was super cool. It's kind of buried in the listing. But in terms of the votes, people were picking, the non-toxic was like the number 1, helps the kid start walking. 2-in-1 walker and ride on were the ones that kind of came out on top there. So this was these were the options. So perfect for 1 to 3-year-old, safe, non-toxic materials, helps child to learn to walk, 2-in-1 rider and walker. And now that we have our concepts, it's time to actually test them. So let's ask real shoppers what they think. So the first iteration was this, concept A versus concept B, with a little bit more fun on concept B. Concept A is a little bit more traditional kind of image. We put it through a true search simulation, so it actually looks like it's taking place on Amazon. It was also really important to use a UK audience because obviously it's the double-decker bus. I did initially do a test in the US and people were like, oh, this looks like a very UK-based product. Which layout do you guys think won? So concept A was like Hannah's kind of original layout. Concept B was the little bit more fun one.
I'll go with the fun one. I think it might stop the scroll a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me as well, B.
Yeah, B.
The fun one.
I'm going B.
Cool. So I thought that too, but turns out, nah. The parents that were taking this poll, they had kids as well. But the general feedback was, it looked like the kid was having like too much fun, maybe falling off, it's unstable, that sort of thing. So interestingly enough, they actually liked the more static kind of prim and proper picture, which was interesting to me because I had this exact same thought process. But again, you never know till you test it. Okay, so now that we have our main layout, let's do another iteration, but let's figure out the call out. So safe, non-toxic, perfect for 1 and 3, 2-in-1 rider and walker, helps child learn to walk. Again, which one do you guys think won? A, B, C, or D?
I'm going B. Age range.
Age range, yep. So
I think safe. I think safe, and not the non-toxic, but just safe.
I'm going to go A.
A, safe and non-toxic, yeah. Okay, so we're split on it. Really cool, right? So it's something that's really good to test. Turns out the 2-in-1 rider and walker won, and by like a huge margin. So it got almost double the votes of the second. So D, B, and C were all kind of in the same. The least one was learns how to walk. And I think the second one was the 1 to 3-year-old here, option D. I know it's really small to see there. So interesting. And then this one just made me, I love some of our shoppers. They really like to get into the details. So here, like, my toddler's likely to fall off, graze their elbow, crash into my grandma's ankles, causing uncontrollable bleeding due to the thin skin. Like, geez, detail, right? I had to give this person a bonus for that response. And this one kind of explained, why the 2-in-1 won. Kind of makes sense. They're all a little bit obvious. helps a child learn to walk. Of course it does. Perfect for 1 to 3 year old, right? So they kind of just explained their thoughts. Okay, so now we have concepts. The next step is to test it with real life kind of contextual testing. So we do a true search simulation. We know that, you know, our click-through rate success is relative. It doesn't matter how beautiful our main image is. You have to stand out in the search results, and context actually matters on Amazon. So first step is to do a baseline test. So I just grabbed some kind of similar ideas, products that, you know, parents might be looking for if they're in the market for something like this. Adjusted the price because we did have that issue where it wasn't FBA fulfilled, but we'll chat about that, I think, a little later. And turns out it actually did pretty well based on these products, where it got 24% of the clicks. So now we have a baseline 24%. Let's now do the poll again, but exclude the people that took that poll because they've seen it. So we have to exclude them, otherwise they're biased, right? So this is a brand new set of people, same audience, just a brand new set of people. So let's test concept C. So again, concept C was the winning call out. 2-in-1 rider and walker. We put it in, and wow, we actually got the majority of the votes here, to the point where we actually got statistical significance on this too, which is pretty wild. So we went from 24% of the clicks to 37% of the clicks, which is a good increase. So about 52% higher click-through rate on the new design. So what does it mean? So if you have 1,000 people coming to the listing, that's another 128 more people going to your listing and can potentially buy, you know, based on 1,000 impressions. So just summing it up here, we had some other ideas. So one thing that I'm big on right now is festifying Amazon listings. It gets people in the holiday mood. It gets them to spend more money. So I like the idea of Hannah's bow, but I figured, hey, let's take it up a notch and generate it with our asset creator tool. First, I did the gold bow, which is kind of okay, but it didn't stand out. And then I realized why Hannah's worked so well is because the blue really stood out on the contrast of the red. So, hey, now we have the blue bow, looks like a gift thing. It's probably too big there, but I like to kind of over exaggerate it for the purpose of just showing it off. And then there's other things we could do. We could add more hang tags, for example. So like the rubber wheels were kind of an issue. So non-slip rubber wheels, we can make it right there. And of course, people also mentioned the weight was an issue as well. So it holds 50 pounds if it can, hopefully. Cultural diversity, we can also fix that really quick too. Just change the ethnicity. And then we have, I mean, it's not perfect, but we have, you know, different models in a click or two. We're good to go. And the other cool thing, this is the last thing that I'll leave you guys with, but I wanted to kind of see. So what I liked about that other image with the kid kind of having more fun with it, it really looked like he was genuinely having fun. So I figured, hey, can we make the model here have a bigger smile? So I drew over his mouth. I said, big smile. I got a smile there. And the crazy thing is that, you know, Amazon has their recognition tool, which can actually read the images. And even this small little change of a detail, it was able to pick that up. So we went from like 99.6% happy in the image with a little bit of calm, surprised, and confused, all the way to 100% happy. So just more of a, you know, tidbit of thing, but just as an example that, you know, Amazon can actually read these images and actually get the smallest of details when they're reading them. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys.
Excellent. Simon, feedback.
That's crazy. That's just like so interesting. How just putting those call outs makes such a significant difference to the I mean, they're big numbers. 24 to 37 is a big jump. You know, that's not a slight move of the needle. That's like us taking it into the red line. So yeah, good work. Yeah, no, it's amazing feedback. Using this sort of comparison is just it says it all, doesn't it? You have to do it. You get the insights without having to test it on real customers and either make money or lose money. You can do this. I don't know how long to actually do this testing would take. I guess a few hours or a day or so, but it's certainly not a week or 30 days of data that you've got to trawl through.
I think that's the misconception as well, is some people push back with customer objections because they think it's expensive and it takes a long time. But in reality, it doesn't take that long as you get faster doing it. You know, when you're doing product research, you get faster and faster, right? It's the same with customer objections. You spot things faster, you're able to iterate faster. But if you don't, you could launch a product, do 30, 40K, right? 4 months in, find out it's not working. What's more expensive, that week or the 4 months of time? Because time and attention is money as well. This is where you put your time and attention, okay? Generate the money. So if you're in a situation where you skip that stage, okay, and then you launch, I would argue that the costs are more on the back end than they are on the front end. But we've got to get people educated on it and say, look, here's a couple of hacks to get you going. And once they get into it and they get faster and they find processes, it'll become normalized for them.
The thing is if you wait 3 or 4 months, that's 3 or 4 months of getting those sales. Now, I wouldn't know if those sales are good or bad. I'm the only judge I'm going to do is if my profit and loss account is going to be good enough to continue building and reinvesting, or if I do assess that there's something wrong. The only way it's going to come out of my own assessment, I'm going to have to try and.
You're an entrepreneur. You back yourself, right?
Yeah,
so what you do, you get so much information, and then you've got a gut feeling. You go, "It's my money. I'll do it." So you get a feel for it, right? And that's good. That's intuition and everything else. Mix that with a bit of data.
I was just going to say, I mean, just those numbers really clearly demonstrated that the click-through rate is going to be significantly higher by making those subtle, well, they're not particularly subtle, but those call-outs and putting those onto the main image. It's quite stark, really, the difference between the original main image and like the new image that has the detail that the split testing gave us, and then putting it in front of an audience.
So, yeah, because Matt ran the process numerous times. That's the difference as well. He's like, it wasn't just get your customer objections, launch. He's gone through a set of stages as well, which can be wound into the product development stage quite easy. And once you know what you're looking for, information wise, and you get a feel for it, you'll get faster and you'll get better at it, like you do with everything else. Sim.
Yeah, well, firstly, Matt, that was outstanding. I think that's your best one yet, and it was already a high bar. That was really good.
Couldn't have done it without Hannah.
Yeah, true. It's all come together nicely, hasn't it? But yeah, I just want to put some more gravitas behind these numbers that Matt just found, right? So he's increased we've increased the click-through rate by, let's say, what was it, 128 in
so it's
50,
50% higher click-through rate.
Yeah, so there's an extra 128 clicks coming per 1,000, right?
Yep.
So let's say the conversion rate on this product is 10%. That's 13 more sales every time 1,000 people look at this product. Yep. That's crazy. But not only that, what I mentioned before is that we're actually going to increase conversion rate here because we're calling out the absolutely key objections to the customer. So they're going to probably see the age range of the product, the fact it's sturdy, the fact it's got non-toxic materials. Whichever way we go down, it's now going to convert the customer better as well. So that 13 with the Amazon flywheel will slowly become 15, 20, and we're going to keep going until every product has a cap, but we should be able to hit significantly more than before. And yeah, I think this is the type of testing that we should all be doing, but like I said earlier, much earlier on in development, much earlier on in the launch phase, because I mean we're doing it on some products that we launched years ago. Obviously, we have a big catalog, but years ago, and now the changes are so drastic. Like suddenly, we had a product that was pretty much taking up a lot of stock in the warehouse, looking to discontinue it. I'm not joking. One main image change, and now we're reordering it and going to run out of stock soon. It went from doing 7 a day to 67, just with one image change. It's crazy. But yeah, it shows the difference these things can make. But yeah, I love how everyone got involved with that from Matt and Hannah's design, and I'm obviously looking forward to now to see what Peter's come up with as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff, by the way, so far. Really like it. Yeah, so first of all, the approach that we recommend, and if it's for product development, or if it's for launch preparation, or if it's for growth hacking a current listing, we recommend to follow the process of ideate, hypothesize, create, test, and validate. So that's where I start with. And I did this with this product. Now, first of all, when I saw this London bus, I felt like, oh, we do not have really direct competitors. So it's a selected group of consumers who would like to buy this, but they like the theme of the London bus. They like to prefer wood or whatever. But the wooden London bus is unique. It does not, but it's not something people will easily search for on Amazon. Getting clicks will be tough, since most toys in this category are plastic and look very different. You need to know exactly what it takes to make people click and buy. So this is not an easy product to sell. Small tweaks will not make it stand out from the rest, although I saw already some tweaks that Matt just showed up that maybe is saying another thing, but still. It's essential to do solid research to understand what customers want to see, want so they feel drawn to this product. Now, first of all, you have to step in the shoe of the consumer. So if we speak about search, find, buy, you also have to think about awareness, consideration, and purchase. And with the awareness stage, it's about kind of like the starting point of the buyer. So it might be a grandparent, it might be a grandparent buying a toy for their grandson or grandchild. Might also be someone who's buying it as a gift. It might be a parent. Nevertheless, you have need-based. So looking for the theme, maybe they want to have the London bus. Maybe they're looking for the 2-in-1 option, which is absolutely unique for this product. You don't see that quite often in the Amazon marketplace. The nostalgia, so the London theme, but safety, I will get back to that later. The non-toxic. But then you have buyers who are information gatherers. So maybe if you just show the product up against competitors, then the theme may draw attention. Or the 2-in-1 with the badge that Matt also showed. Or safety highlighted might be making a difference. Now, overall, here you see, by the way, the keywords. And then if we go, then let's quickly do it. Then you see what I mean. This is what you see. And it's not really related to that London bus. Even the 2-in-1 option is not visible here. So just showing that now quickly. Then this is the product, and this is the one that we want to sell. Now, I did some research. I searched on kittymodo.co.uk, found the product. I also found it on binkybobby.com. By the way, I will share all these details afterwards, of course. Then I found a competitor online, although it's not for sale. It doesn't have any option to sell, but then still here's something that looks like a London bus, but it's totally different. I went further, and then I thought about, I also did Google Lens search. I recommend doing that. So if you're doing research on a product, then you can find stuff like this. It's really interesting to see more information about the product that are really needed to investigate further how to proceed. Now, A versus B. It might be obvious, and we did some tweaks as well for the main image. It's a bit different, but indeed also with a boy on there. But I skipped the A versus B. And the reason is that whatever I do, if I place this A versus B, I think even if I do the poll right now in this call, everybody will do a shout out to the toy with the kid on it. And it's not really what I want to know, because that is something that I already knew. So we did the same approach. We start with objections. That's what we always do. And we did that. I did that with a purchase berry poll. Now, first I want to highlight something. I spoke about awareness. And I also mentioned information gathering. So first of all, I placed 90 respondents in the situation, like looking for a ride-on car. So this is more general, like, hey, imagine you're looking for a toy, and then a ride-on car could be the perfect choice. That's what I did. And then we asked the people, what would be a reason not to buy a wooden kids ride-on? Now let's look at the poll. Here it is. And then here we have the purchase berry poll. And first of all, if I dive into that situation insights, this gave me insights. It's really interesting that the word safe and safe or close to safe or related to safe. So you have to see it like this. You are shopping for a kids on ride-on. And what is important to you? Now, many people did a shout out to safe. That's, by the way, why I picked that one in that poll previously, because I felt like safe is indeed very important to buyers. And I even checked it on the listing here. And if I just do a search on the page and check for safe, it's not mentioned that much. So you see it sometimes, but it's definitely worth to test that and see what you can do in the title. We'll get back to that later. Back to the poll. Then what it's all about here, we have the objections. So actual consumers gave individual feedback, and they only did that on the main image and title. I changed the main image, by the way, with the boy on it, just because I felt like, you know what, otherwise I'm going to get a complaint that people might think I don't even know what it's for. I don't understand it. And now they see that it's a write-on. You get a top 10 buying objections here. So safety concern, quality, durability, design and comfort, appropriateness for age group, etc. I brought that further, and then I started by countering objections. So what I did, I used AI. And by the way, you just mentioned, Danny, that it would be nice to have a CSV export. That's what I did. Here you have it. So download, you can export the CSV, and then you can play around with it. That's what I did. And here you have it. So I counted the objections. I just felt like, hey, you know what? Here's the list of objections. How would I encounter this? I'm just providing this information right now so you can use it. Of course, you have to do it within the relevancy of search terms, but I strongly recommend to use this stuff in the bullet points and the A+ content. By the way, speaking about A+ content, I quickly want to say that just as a recommendation for now, looking at the product, I really felt like, so this is great. You see the product. There's a very consistent overview of the product itself. Bullet points are related to it. But then if you go down, all of a sudden, I'm kind of surprised to see more Kitimoto brand and nothing about the product. I strongly recommend to do something about it and use this space to upsell and really communicate all the features and stuff needed to sell this product. Now, further, so I was with the counter objections. That's what I did. Then I also brought the objections in this document, and I just looked at it. So this is my approach. I just looked at it like, okay, from first image to second, and you see all the objections here again. And I just checked, like, so if I'm a strike through, that means that I do see that appropriateness for age group is covered in this image. I do see that features are covered, size and portability. But then here's safety, no, appropriate, no, lack of features, etc. Now, I went a step further because I know it's all about main image, but I was so, because of the fact that it is quite complicated to really stand out in the search with CDR, and although you will get there because you will get the clicks and you will get the awareness, of course you will, but it's all about doing the sales as well. So I went a step further to really encounter those objections in the listing itself. That brought me to branding and design. I saw different styles around Kitimoto. I just want to say, make sure that it's consistent. Branding is very important, and make sure that it's consistent. Then I did a research on what is related to London. I don't know if you know this, but I didn't know it, but I found this. So the London color palette. It seems that there's a color theme for London, so that's interesting. So I went to create and test and validate. That brings me to the next poll. And now I went into the listing deeper. And that is an image tag poll. So again, I'm just going beyond the first image, but it will be addressed here. You will see it. First of all, with that image tag poll, I changed the scenario now because now I made it need-based. I changed it and I placed the respondents in the situation now looking for a London bus. So I'm saying it here, a wooden London bus ride-on, just because I want to make sure that they understand now you're looking for a London bus. That's what I want to have. And then from there, here you have the total overview, and you can see that my new version is winning from the current one. Is it already doing a good job? No, it's not. I will show you, by the way, the images that you see what I did. So this is compared to the other one. So I changed it in timeless, safe and sturdy. I give the London theme a little bit in the background, immediately show the extra feature. Then to the next image, lasting memories because of the grandpa. I felt like, that might be interesting. Then also the 2-in-1 theme. I think it should do a better job by mentioning with a badge and 2-in-1. Then the next image, the logo in there supports growth and play, etc. So you go on, that's the final image. Overall, you can see that the main image here in this overview in the current situation is just getting a bunch of negatives. They don't like it. I can even check why they don't like it. And then you see what I brought in earlier. It's least convincing. There's no gel sitting on it. It has no scale. Doesn't really show enough. It's nice to see a photo. There's no information on the wheels. So it doesn't really come across. And in image tag B, you do see that, I have to clear the filters here, then you do see that it's doing a better job. Then still, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. And that brings me back to this overview here. So what I did is based on the feedback. Here's a breakdown of the objections you successfully encountered. I did this again, by the way, with ChatGPT. So in our poll type, you can go to AI summary. I took the positives for stack B and the unique for stack B. Then check that with the objections we had. I hope everybody can follow what I did. But then here you see again. So here, now respondents highlighted safety features. That's doing a good job. The quality and durability is also noticeable. They like the design and comfort, comfortable grips, vibrant color scheme. By the way, you spoke about the rubber wheels. Check. We did that soft rubber grip. And indeed, if I go to, I don't think it's mentioned that much. I have to check. Here, rubber. Is it going there? Oh no, unfortunately not. Maybe wheel. That's also nice if you do it in a presentation. There's no information on the wheel. So, okay, so this is not, that's it. Yeah, that's still something that needs to improve more, because I do think that the rubber wheels is important. And I saw that also from the insights. Feedback recognized for the suitability for different development stages. That's good. The material concerns were addressed. Lack of features was also done. And then further, so the unique selling points, and then specific benefits and value adds. What I mean here is that I asked here, so again with ChatGPT and also with my own insights, with my checking all the individual responses, what is extra feedback from respondents that goes beyond simply countering objections? So now we are speaking about objection, but you also have wants, needs, and desires, USPs, benefits that people like. Now that's just stuff you can highlight more to really lift up the images and make every image count. Make every image count. Make sure that if you drive a consumer over your listing, that they will really grab the attention, that they say, yes, this is what I'm looking for. So then you get dual functionality, the realistic and relatable imagery. So it's very important to show the kids, like sometimes you see a kid kind of like hanging forward. Well, make sure that they really stand up straight, that it looks safe and stable, etc. Educational value, comfortable, stability, and then needs and desires. So they like the nostalgic appeal, fun, engaging design. Well, you see it's a lot of stuff here. So then let's go to the summary. Enhance your messaging. So highlight more the dual functionality, the realistic imagery, comfort, convenience features, balance in education and fun, the stability and motor skill development, and the nostalgic design. And that brings me to the final step, that this is also something you need to do, like test and validate, ideate again, go back to hypothesize, etc. So yeah, for so far my insights.
Excellent. Simon, feedback.
I'm glad you noticed that I've got so many different logos. That's 22 years of the brand and its evolution. But I generally can't let go of the previous iteration of the brand logo. But yeah, again, it's just listening to that feedback, isn't it, and understanding what the consumer really sees, what their eyes see, and what they require, and understanding and just taking notice of them, and then putting that into the imagery to answer those needs. That's it just cuts out a lot of wasted time and lost sales straight away. I mean, this is such an important process.
Keep singing it, son. Keep singing it, Sim. What's your feedback?
Yes, I'm going on the party line a bit like Simon just did, but that's obviously a great use of AI. It's the first time really that we've deep dived the secondary images as well, and I think obviously this is a very considered purchase. It's relatively expensive compared to the ones we've looked at already, and it's for children, so people are going to be looking very deeply into each facet of the products and the secondary images. I feel like Intellivision Product Opinion, they seem to add a new feature every 5 minutes, and it's hard to keep up.
Which is lovely.
I really like the image stack poll there, and comparing. And that's what you're doing, right? So you're comparing, say, a dimensions image against a dimensions and coming up with the better options. I mean, that's just great. I mean, we're not even close to doing that. We're just getting through like main images at the moment, but the next stage is absolutely to go into the conversion rate upside of secondary images stuff. Also, the checklist for each objection and making sure they're all hit. Fantastic.
Yeah, my response on that, by the way, is that I did this because by getting a deeper understanding of the conversion flow, so you have to grab each moment. That's what I said. Each image is a moment where you have to grab the consumer to take them to the next. But by doing so, if you get all those insights, you understand the wants, needs, and desires behind each image and the USPs that are really coming across and make a matter to do the sale, to get the buyer in the mode of like, I want to have it.
Well, it's video too as well. I mean, if you know what the customer objections are, then you can make the snappiest 15-second video and address everything in one hit. Bang, done. That's TikTok done as well. It's nailed it.
But that's it. And also in the video, you have to get the first seconds.
3 seconds.
Need to know what. Yeah.
I've taken a slightly different approach because I kind of know that there'll be the call outs, the swing tags, and the whole point of this exercise as well is to do as many different ways of testing as possible. So this is of course, the original image. And so we did a lot playing around with white space AI. So if we go through these here, you can see this boy here. Now, if we look at the next one and the next one, this is where we've been utilizing AI. So it's a mix of using Photoshop skills, AI, and trying to get that kind of finished touch. So that was the original image. You can see here, we've changed the girl here and the boy. So we got various different options. And if you see that, like the clothing as well. If we go to the next one, and of course, obviously, because of the front profile, this will, we'd test it in a mobile simulation versus the desktop. Going to the next one. So here's the original bus. There's the one that I think Hannah had with the boy on. And then there's a retouch version from the original image. I'll go into the importance of popping. When we say popping an image, a lot of people go into that route of oversaturation and stuff like that, but reflections play a big part. And if we go back to the original images, guys have pointed out the reflection is quite harsh here, isn't it? So it doesn't seem as natural, and the way it sits underneath the bus doesn't have the natural reflection as you would when a photographer takes a photograph on like a plastic board, like a perspex board that gives you that reflection. So if we go through here, you can see the difference with the retouching, the reflections. It's over reflected. We put a little bit too extra in there, but because whilst we're not doing call outs on this one, because you guys are doing the call outs, we're trying to overcook in certain areas where we might not do the call outs per se, but we're going heavy on the reflections to kind of bring out the image to pop a little bit more when it's sitting in the search results. Now, again, we used Leonardo. Is combining the element of Photoshop, AI, and looking at different creative ways, because these reflections they're also done in Leonardo, and then they're touched to a point which I'll get to further down the line. So this is the finished image. Now, to explain the two bottom images here, it goes back to the issue with all I did was 10 videos on product opinion. I run them through my bot that visualizes the customer objections. Of those 10 videos, I pull in all the negative feedback. So first one, like this is no prompting, just throwing in the negatives. What came back? Main image, core presentation, which we'll go through in a moment. But number 2, comfort and safety for long-time use. Number 3, adjustable and ride-on capability. Number 4, detailed close-up of key features, handles and wheels. Number 5, safety focus, preventing common hazards. Number 6, size and weight capacity information. Number 7, durability and paint quality. Number 8, simplicity and focus layout. Number 9, expanded on value features, unique selling points and variants. And number 10, long-term use of care instructions. Now, that's not to say you're going to put more than the list in. The idea is for idea generation for each of those images, if you want to represent the customer objections in a visual way. I always say that the thing with customer objections, or what customers are looking for Amazon, they're not necessarily looking for you to get your brand across per se, right? What they're looking for is a beautifully designed and illustrated online user manual that addresses the customer objections and how the product is in use. So going back to the points here, there was comments about sharp edges, the handles, what could happen in terms of the issues with like the back of it. How does it drop down? How does it function? So what we focused on is showing 3 profiles of the bus and then 2 action shots at the bottom. We also changed the color of the young lad's t-shirt here at the bottom because it was yellow and it wasn't juxtaposing correctly against the white. Blue comes out because it matches the kid on the bus here, right? Now, if we go to the next one, see, this is where Leonardo comes into play. So I think this is image to image photo photography, I think it was. And then what will happen is you can see that this is all gray in the background, but then we clean this up. So we clean it all up in Photoshop. The 2 images at the bottom are reflections done in Photoshop, but it just gives you a slightly different nuance in terms of what goes into the image. Now, you could say that's too busy, there's too much going on, but I'm going to come to a point in a moment. There are busy images and there's non-busy. It depends on the product, your accessories, the category, the type of customer, etc. as well. So what we did in terms of the keywords. Now, when I talk about creativity, is finding ways like we understand the swing tag, putting the keyword on there. We understand putting the keyword on the box. As we kind of broaden here the market, we looked at the Q4 of 22 and 23. So we used ride-on toys, and we also used the ride-on toys for toddlers. Now, I don't know if you noticed that in the image, but if you look at the bus at the top that's on the right-hand side, that long tail, well, I say long tail, but the ride-on toys for toddlers 1 to 3 boys, we replaced the brand name and put the keyword up there. And then if you look at where the bus is going, so it was going to Piccadilly Circus, this is where we put on the rider toys. So what I'm trying to get people to also avoid, Sim, you've seen this, we call it the sea of same. Imagine you go top 10 listings, everyone's got similar packaging, call out tags and stuff like that. How do you differentiate yourself from there? Or is that right for the market as well? So obviously we run that through recognition, and you can see here, there's actually a problem with the bus we need to address. I will change the font slightly because as you reduce the size of the font, depending on the font will depend if it gets an OCR reading with inside Amazon recognition in the image. Now, this is another thing here, packaging, right? So Simon, the packaging is good, but the photography and the lighting of the packaging is not necessarily usable in the main image because that would stand out, right? So this is the same image. This is not AI. This is the same image, all done in Photoshop. Change the perspective of the box using the same image. Then we retouched and added the bus. We haven't done anything with the text or anything because what we're trying to demonstrate is outside of AI, it comes back down to that junction. So you've got AI, which people are using all the time, which won't take you all the way for everything. and then bringing in the design talent as well in terms of Photoshop skills, illustration, etc., is quite important. But I thought that would be quite interesting to show what you can do now in terms of bending reality. Because when I've sent that round to people, I said, same image, different perspective. They said, how long did that take to do as a 3D render? And I said, no, it's 10 minutes in Photoshop, changing the perspective of the box, retouching it, adding the bus on, retouching it, but we haven't addressed any of the text. Now, Sim brought this to everyone's attention. This is, so he gets the flowers for this. This is the Hall of Famer of images, right? And everyone looks to Zule Kitchen now because they've got amazing images. What I found interesting, I pulled their whole image stack across their products. Now, check this out. So we all know this one, right? And if we break it down, we've done it before. Milk froth rubber stand's got the keyword. Then you've got lifetime warranty at the side of the box, over 5 million sold, which gives you social proof. At the top, you've got a bow, so it's a present. You see all the different color variations. You can also see the whisk in use, the white on white, and the way that they've feathered it against the variations. You've also seen a beautifully made cappuccino, and then obviously the coffee beans. There's a lot of thought that's gone into that. But they also make use of white space as well. So the way that they do their style, you can see there's a common theme here, you know, lifetime warranty here, and you can see how they use the various different variation types and colors and stuff. But it's not always the same way of use, right? So some people would maybe use variations in the image over and over again in the same formula. What I like about these guys is they've managed to get that artistry down with white space. And white spaces can be very important. You only have to look at like Apple products and stuff like that. Again, look at this image here. They've got the 3 at the top. Now, sometimes you feel compelled to fill in the bottom to make sure that you've got it's equal all around. But it really works for the fact that they do have really, really good products and packaging, and they have a great design team. And you put all of those together. I use the same analogy when I was in the music industry and I was a record producer. I was on the dance music end. But when you look at how a record is made, you'd have an engineer, you'd have a producer, you'd have an artist, you'd have a writer, you'd have a mix engineer, you have a mastering engineer, and they all play their roles in the process. And then when all that chemistry comes together, that's where the magic starts to happen. So I'll quickly flick through these, but in context, it's really good to go for a deck like this and see all of their images. Look at these. Like if we go back to the Hall of Famer, look at these. These are really just plain. They've made it to work. It's operating in that technique of creating the white space, having the right product, and coming up with the right formula to lay out the image as well. This is something that we've been developing. This isn't AI, it's all programmed. And what I've done is I've taken some images off of Amazon, because I want to show the point here is that you can see by this image, like if we look on the right-hand side, you can see the retouching work and you can see the reflection. And I think what happens, a lot of people stop with images by adding just the berries and stuff, and they don't finish off the retouching. They don't get the reflection to get that pop. And that's what I want to try and encourage people to do. So this, by Christmas, we should have this out 1.5 seconds per image, or like the processing from end to end. So what you see there on the left-hand side, the original image, what you see on the right will come out in 1.5 seconds. So that we can do big catalogs for our clients, you know, say they've got 300 main images. We can munch through them in a day, send them back, put them up through AWS. We're still sorting out the APIs, and then put them onto the listing. So it's done end to end. But this is an optimization. This is what I call baseline, which means that there's a level of quality of images. And by doing this, you can see the difference. It's like clothing, you know, people with big catalogs are not always going to spend the time. We narrow the bandwidth. If you've got a few products, really focus, concentrate on going deep on the optimization. But then when you've got a big catalog and all the different variations, things start to slip with things like images. The way I see it is conversion at scale. So let's say someone's got 500 main images and you run it through the POP system, IMG POP, I've called it. Run it through that. And then basically, you know, if 1 in 100 do something and move the needle, it could have a considerable impact to the business. Again, look, same with this one. They've used the gummies and stuff to the side, but it's dry. You can see the difference even on like the retouching side.
Again, it's just, I think that having a main image that just speaks to you and sort of, you know, like the original image that I've got of the bus, it is very, I think it cost about 75 pence on Fiverr to have the shadow put on there. It's very sharp. It's like, yeah, it doesn't show underneath. It's just not well done. But it was better than the original photograph. So, yeah, again, this is just telling us how important taking a little bit of care and attention on your images is just absolutely crucial.
But you've also got to know where you stand with taking the care on the images, right? So what I've done, I pointed out and showed you the light and day of what can be as a standard for an image, whereas someone might get the image like the ones I showed you earlier on, the first one, right, with the berries on. It's very common technique. Use Canva, stick some berries on, put a swing tag on. Brilliant. You should do that. But what about the sheen? What about the finish? What can we do? Where does the pop come from? I'm not saying the reflection is or the retouch is the only thing. Space matters. The product matters, whether it's something that can look good in the image as well, because some products are just functional rather than beautiful design. But
yeah, and the kitchenware stuff that you were showing there, that they've clearly got a designer that it's
amazing,
consistent all the way through. So there's a similarity, there's a feel within those images, and I think if that's what, you know, that comes back to Peter pulling me up on having 4 different logos for the brand. It's having that consistency and having it all the way through all your images, all your products. If you can do that, then it's definitely going to make a difference.
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
Sim, what did you think? Is there anything that stood out for you?
So having a way for them to just quickly upscale and add these reflections, add pop, as you call it, is brilliant. And then for the rest of us who perhaps can put more time into them, this could be them testing at scale. So you can imagine what you test things out and then maybe give it to a 3D renderer to sort out.
Cool. Final thoughts before we go.
I mean, I say it every week, but it really is. I think today's proof. It doesn't really cost that much to do testing like this on a product. And if you do think that this amount of money is a lot for the product, I'd argue you shouldn't be launching the product in the first place. There's got to be, the product has to be bringing enough profit to be worth your time. And I think we've seen for like probably $500, you could test and not just test, but create the whole image stack properly well researched. For $500-600 you're done, and that's it. And then you just keep iterating the testing over time. And if you can't afford that in the launch, fair enough. But I would argue that if you can't afford that, you shouldn't be launching a product in the first place, because you need to be able to. That should be warranted in the potential profit going forward. And yeah, just stop the scroll as well. I think that's a massive part of this. Get the customer objections across. That's one thing, but you've got to stop that scroll as well. You've got to be the one that stands out. And if everyone starts to copy you like they have done with the Zule Kitchen milk frother, I think it's high time that they change tact and maybe try something else now, because everyone's copied them on the front page. So,
and I think that's the thing. They've kind of not innovated, but people look to them. And I bet you that the new products will have different, and more people copy them, because you've got copiers and you've got the originators, and the originators are normally the idea generators.
Absolutely. I mean, the German market is just phenomenal for all markets except for this one. I couldn't find anything really there that helped us with ride on truck, so or ride on toy. So yeah, maybe take this on to Germany, Simon. You got the market to yourself there, I think. Maybe not a London bus though. Might not resonate.
Yeah, the Germans do love a wooden toy as well.
Yeah,
they like good craft and they like good quality, don't they?
They
yeah. Peter, best way that people can reach you?
Yeah, via Intellivi.net, and I'm also found on LinkedIn, so you see my name here, and just search for Peter Paul Mahon, connect with me, and I'm here to help.
And I'll put the details in the show notes, of course.
Thank you.
Sim?
Yeah, LinkedIn, Facebook, just Sim Mahon, as it's spelled out on the screen there. But yeah, always ready to talk.
Hannah?
Yeah, you can reach me via LinkedIn. My name is here, Hannah Stampio.
Excellent. Simon?
Oh yeah, Kirimoto. Just anything. All social media, website, anything. Just Kirimoto. It'll come up.
Excellent. Guys, thank you for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you could learn a lot from it. And I hope that you'll go and do more testing. Hopefully there's a variant of creative ideas that you could use to implement in your business. Take care of yourself. I hope you're having a great fall. Much love, and I'll see you again.